Hi all, welcome to my new little vlog. Right, I completed a lovely shirt. It's a bird's eye, what I would call like bird's eye pattern, and it's quite a loose weave actually. And this is from a mill in England up north. I think they're called English Fine Cottons, and they actually weave some of their fabric, shirting fabric. So I only use the best. So Sea Island cottons or Egyptian cottons, or the mills in England that actually weave their own shirting cottons. So when you making high-end shirts, I mean my shirts are £400 upwards, then you've got to try and get the best fabrics you can get, which I do. So I was experimenting because he wanted kind of a little designer shirt, so I've done this kind of collar standing contrasting, like another contrasting bird's eye, but I've made the collar stand quite wide, and I put two buttonholes there, and I made the spread a bit wider. It's what we call a collar spread. So it depends on, because sometimes they can be exactly to the center front where the buttonholes are going to be, the buttons are, or you can have what we call tie space, so they can come out a quarter of an inch, half an inch, even an inch, doesn't matter. Depends on, if you've got a big Windsor knot tie or whatever you're going to knot. If you've got a big tie, then you have to have some tie space, what we call tie space there. So I was experimenting with this. But one of my signatures for all of my shirts I do is I make all the buttonholes by hand. So this is what we call a keyhole buttonhole. And this stems from my bespoke work. I make pure Savile Row style jackets and suits, and I always put a keyhole buttonhole. So I've used that. That's inspired me, and so all of my shirts have got a keyhole buttonhole, and I use silk buttonhole twist. So for suits we put a gimp in, what we call a gimp. It's like a cord, but shirts it'd be a bit too thick, so I just use pure silk buttonhole twist for that. You can see it's lovely, all done by hand. So there's about 11-12 buttonholes all done by hand. Now another thing what I've done quite unique is the client wanted cufflinks, but also he wanted to do them up with a normal button. So you can see here. So you got your cufflink, and also you got your button. So you can take off the cufflinks and do it up like a normal cuff with a button. And I use the top high grade mother of pearl buttons. They're very expensive. I think they're just about around £2 for each one. So there we have that. Now, as a fashion designer and a bespoke tailor, I like to mess around and play around. So here's another shirt. This is a designer shirt I did. I'm experimenting, and this is what we call an Italian collar. So I've got a new fashion show next year, a suit collection for women, so I'm going to use some of this for my blouses. So I put a front yoke in, some epaulettes, my Italian collar. But I was experimenting on the shirt because I don't like the way shirt makers do their shirts, and as a bespoke tailor I've always looked at how you can improve shirts. Now a lot of shirts, the sleeve, they drag at the top. You'll see most shirts they drag here at the sleeve crown, because the sleeve depth, the crown depth is very shallow, and they can be 3-4 inches. Now jacket sleeves, they are quite deep, the actual crown are, and it depends on the armhole, but I won't get technical. But I use a very deep crown for my shirts now, and you get a beautiful finish. But also I've experimented, like on here, this is a two-piece sleeve, so this actually starts to curve round from the elbow like a two-piece jacket sleeve, and you don't get any drags at all from the top. You get a beautiful, just like a jacket sleeve, it fits like a jacket sleeve. And that's because, I'm getting ahead of myself, because this is a two-piece sleeve. You've got a hind arm, which is there underneath, and you've got your top sleeve. So this is exactly cut exactly like a jacket sleeve, two-piece sleeve. And also on the back here, got my lovely yoke there. I put a centre back seam. Now most shirts, if not all shirts, do not have a centre back seam, and I've actually been inspired by the jackets, because all jackets have a centre back seam to follow the spine. So I've actually, most of my shirts now are cut with the centre back seam. It actually follows the spine, so it's shaped, which means you don't need to put any darts. If you want it fitted, usually you'd have to put darts here. Well, this doesn't have any darts at all, because I've actually shaped the centre back seam there. So this is a two-piece sleeve, just like a jacket sleeve. So I'm experimenting, and so this is what I like to do. So I'll be launching soon some tutorials on shirt making sleeves, and two-piece sleeves and the one-piece sleeve, and how to pattern cut collars, collar stands and cuffs, and the sleeves. So hopefully I'll let you all know when that's all up. It's how professional tailors, shirt tailors do it, because I've seen many forums and people making shirts and it leaves a lot to be desired. It's not made up well. They put too wide a seam allowance. All collars should only be stitched with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that's how all professional shirt makers do it. You don't need clip-ins here. You don't pin. No shirt maker pins when they're making shirts. You put all flat felled seams in. So later this year, I'll be launching a very comprehensive and in-depth course on how to pattern cut, drape, because I drape all of my shirts on my clients. So I'm going to show you a very unique way, just like the old Couturiers used to do. So I'm going to show you how to pattern cut, drape, pattern cut, and actually sew shirts in the professional manner. So you learn, there'll be lots of professional tips and tricks along the way. So on that note, everyone, I will see you soon, and ciao for now.